Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. Today I just wanted to show you my cute little getup, okay? My comfies. I totally have the look of a goddess today, and let me just rearrange this so we're a little bit closer. Yeah, the look of a goddess, but I had to change into some comfies after a long day. I didn't end up doing my YouTube video until just now, which is like 8:30 p.m. So I'm kind of in a chill mood. Took my dog out and everything and just wanted comfies on. Please tell me who loves comfies, right? Anyways, guys, today the mood is gonna be a little more low vibes. Sorry, but I'm gonna talk about something that is super important. I've been waiting a while to talk about this one just because it is really personal and it is my life, but I really feel like you guys need to know about this. The world needs to know about this. So, okay, I'm going to start by saying some of you know this about me and some of you don't, but I have Lyme disease. It is a disease that does slowly kill you, and in some cases it can kill you quickly, but usually it's a slow killer. Is there a cure? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I would love to say that one day, manifestation, all that I'm going to be good, God's going to save me, all this stuff, but I can get into that later. But so far, nothing yet. And as for treatments, I haven't found a treatment that works. I've tried a few. I've heard of people who've been cured, but I don't know how solid the evidence is that they're actually cured or if they're just actually in remission. Remission's better than nothing, but to be actually cured and like rid of Lyme disease, and not only Lyme disease but the co-infections that also come along with it, I don't know. I look perfectly well, right? You would like never know that I am slowly dying from the inside out. Mentally, it is really hard on me. My body, probably even harder. It's a little emotional for me to talk about because before I ended up getting Lyme disease, I was in the prime of my life. I had just got my journeyman in welding, and I was on my first job after that. And on the last day of work, I felt something sharp, kind of like a pinch. It was actually on my foot, and it sounds so stupid. It was really hot that day, and I kept like taking my feet out of my boots, and there was a couple times I stepped onto, like, it was like a pallet, but it was the ground that we were working on. And yeah, I need my squishy for this story. I stepped onto the ground, and yeah, I felt something go in, but I was so busy, like I honestly like just didn't look at it until I got home. And what I was doing is I was taking my first vacation ever, yay! I was taking my mom to Cuba, and while at home I looked at my foot and I seen that there was like something black, and it was little. It was really, really little, like so little that honestly wouldn't even have necessarily thought that it was a tick or whatever. Anyways, I'm trying to pick it out. I can't get it out. It's literally going further and further in, is what it appeared to be doing. And I remember my mom always told me, like, something goes further and further in, it's a tick. And I never knew the seriousness of Lyme disease. I mean, most people don't. It's starting to be out there since I got it. It's actually become more popular and more talked about. But anyways, so my roommate then at the time, her name was Tala, and she came over and she was helping me. And she literally was picking with tweezers so hard to the point that my toe started fucking bleeding on my foot. I can't even remember if it was on my toe or the bottom of my foot, but anyways, it started bleeding. And like, the foot isn't the most popular place for a tick, I'm not gonna lie. So I really was just like, is this a slipper? Is this a tick? I don't know. I asked her, she said she didn't think it was a tick. So we're like, okay, should I go to the hospital? Probably not. I'm not gonna waste my time with that. And I went to sleep. I'm still not having any clue that Lyme disease is literally gonna ruin your life and kill you. So I ended up sleeping waking up the next morning, getting ready because I'm driving 12 hours to go to BC, and I'm excited because I'm taking my mom to Cuba. I wake up, I feel fine. I tell my mom what happened. She instantly was like, let me see. Looks, nothing there. We both went, okay, whatever. And there's a rumor that like ticks go further and further in to the point they go to your heart and kill you. I think that's honestly just a rumor. I don't think that's true. What they do is they actually burrow in and then they come out when they're done feeding. So anyways, that all goes well. We go to Cuba, and let me tell you, we had the time of our lives. Like honestly, it was a good time for 3 days until it wasn't. So what happened? The night before, I got loaded, and I'm talking loaded, blackout drunk. Literally thought I was that chick. What's her name? Danielle something. She's in rap now, but really, she was like, "Catch me outside." How about that chick? Yeah, okay, that drunk. Anyways, next day, I wake up feeling shitty. Of course, I got loaded. Me and my mom, we go down. We go for like a little late breakfast. We eat that. I'm hung the fuck over. So I'm like smashing waters, which you should only drink bottled water there, and it was a tap water. So that was another thing. Okay, then I was like, I don't feel good. Let's go back to the room. On the way up, we stop, and I grab like some mango that's sitting out, and I start eating that. It's my first vacation ever. I didn't have any like background. I was not even like educated on this stuff, guys. Like I didn't know nothing about traveling, the safety stuff, whatever. So I thought that the water, the tap water I got, by the way, was not just like straight up tap water, but now I don't really know. Anyways, by the time we got in the elevator, I am really not feeling okay. When I say like I'm not really feeling okay, I'm really not feeling okay. Really not feeling okay. Get out of the elevator, and I am like on a boat. Like, oh my God, I can't walk. Like, vertigo. My first time in my life ever having vertigo. The worst. Oh man, and did it go downhill from there? All of a sudden, it's almost like I got drugged. My pupils got huge and black. Oh, it was like so weird. And then all of a sudden, I was just like really, really sick, like really, like fevered, hot. I remember just being like, maybe I got sunstroke because this is not an average hangover. I think I got a little bit of diarrhea, but like not even much. So it wasn't much to think like, oh, this was like something I ate or whatever, or indigestion. Anyways, I tried to sleep it off, and I'm not better by the next day, and I'm like breaking out in sweats overnight, and I'm having weird ass nightmares, man. Getting the chills, like shit was bad. I was like feeling like I might die in Cuba for my first vacation. Cool, right? So I remember the next thing we did is we got the doctor up there. My mom went and got the doctor. He came up. I got like a shot, like an actual shot of gravel into my booty. And after that, he's like, it's just indigestion. You're gonna be fine. And I'm like, yeah, but I have IBS. Like I know indigestion, and like this isn't it. And anyways, I couldn't do anything but really lay there. I was so weak, no energy, just not doing good. I also had like pain in my neck, and I had like ringing in my ear, and I remember my ear was also hurting. And I was like, oh, what the heck is this, man? And I literally at the time just thought like it was something to do with Cuba. I never even like thought about the whole Lyme disease thing at all, really. And like a few days went by, and they looked in my ear, and they seen that my ear was like inflamed, but there was like nothing there. Like it wasn't an ear infection. It was just like a little bit like red and irritated. I managed to survive the trip, but feeling like literally half alive till the point like we got home, and I had done my research immediately, like, because then I remembered, oh my God, the tick thing. As soon as I go on there, I kid you freaking not, every single symptom, like everything I just said, plus migraines, like literally everything. If you go look at the symptoms, there wasn't a symptom that I didn't have. And I was like, oh my God, like I think I got Lyme disease. So I go to the first like walk-in, and mind you, I'm in BC. I'm not even in Alberta where I'm living. I'm stuck in BC. I drove there. I can't even drive myself home. He goes, I think you have tinnitus. I'm like, are you sure? Like, because like tinnitus shouldn't be this bad. with all these symptoms, and that's what they said I had, tinnitus. I'm like, later learning that tinnitus is a freaking symptom of Lyme disease, guys. Come on. So I'm in and out of the hospital over and over again, in and out, in and out. The only thing that they found was that I had a high white blood cell count. So I was obviously infected with something. But I was thinking like Zika even at the time. Like, I'm like, test me for everything because there's something not right here. I'm not okay. I wasn't okay. Okay, they test me for so many different things. Nothing was coming up. Like even the Lyme disease test we did in the hospital came back negative. Later, I learned that that's not even accurate test. Most people with Lyme disease have that test. It doesn't come back as anything. And guys, this is so important to know because catching Lyme disease early, it actually can be treated and you can be saved. Like within the first 3 days, I think you have to like save yourself from being a chronic Lyme. And clearly, I missed that. Anyways, so it was so annoying. Like I'm doing all this stuff. I feel like I'm dying. At some point, they lost all my tests and then said, we got to start over. Like it was just so ridiculous in BC. I was like, hey, they are not helping me. Soon as my like vertigo slowed down a bit, I actually was able to drive myself home. So I come home, but I'm still like, I'm barely like getting out of bed, guys. Like I was deteriorating. I dropped down to like, I think 110, 15 pounds. And normally I'm like 125, 130, honestly. And oh my God, I remember like I was losing the ability to walk because my muscles, it was like my muscles were shutting down, like MS symptoms, which I also learned people who have MS sometimes actually have Lyme disease, like Alzheimer's, like all these things, Parkinson's, dementia. It's actually all undiagnosed Lyme disease. Like having Lyme disease for so long causes this in your body. Okay, this is what I'm headed for apparently. So I'm trying everything. I'm working with my doctor, but he is not helping me. He's like, all your tests are fine. You're fine. You're fine. You're fine. I'm like, but I'm not. Like, I know I'm not okay. And it got to the point that he was like, this is all in your head. Like, I can't help you. What? Yeah. I freaking broke down crying because I was a workaholic. Like, work every single day. My days off, I'm working. Like, you think that I don't want to be at work? Because I just sign up for that sickness and injury, illness benefits, literally, because I was off work for like, I don't know, anywhere between 6 months to a year. Like it was bad. You think like I didn't want to be making money? I was in my prime. Yeah. So I got no help from doctors. If I relied on our system, I literally would have died. Okay. I'm going to tell you, I started working with a naturopath and she had me on all these like tinctures and stuff. And I can't remember what the heck all the stuff I was on. It actually did help me. So this was about now summertime. And I think my trip was in like May, maybe March, April, May, somewhere in there. So yeah, so I ended up getting like a little bit better to the point where I'm like having good and bad days. Some days I can't get out of bed, but some days I can get out of bed, and this is good news, right? At the time, I didn't necessarily know what I was battling because I still wasn't actually getting any real answers. And I mean, that was mentally hard, but also obviously hard on the body. But I didn't know how to deal with it the same way I do now. Like now when I feel that way, I know that I gotta get up and I just gotta push through because eventually at some point I'm gonna have a little bit of a breakthrough where I feel kind of okay. And like the laying in bed is actually way worse. Because I don't even have enough oxygen in my blood to begin with. So like laying around is making it worse, making, the Lyme grow faster and whatnot. Also like food intolerances and diet and all that's huge. So anyways, I get to a point where I'm up and down. I spent a bunch of money to go to a rave. I'd never been to a rave before. I was so pumped because I pre-planned it all before I got sick. And I was like, you know what? Like, I'm okay, but I'm not okay, but I'm okay enough that I'm just gonna go and wing it. And I went and I winged it and I literally had the most amazing time of my life. But I'm telling you, the come down of that party with having a body like I had, not good. To the point where now all of a sudden my brain is like misfiring. Okay, I've now had just fainting spells, but now they've turned into like syncope fainting to the point where I'm not kidding. Like, you hold on to something and your body's like seizuring, even though you're not out. You're not seizuring, but it's just muscle involuntary, whatever. It was freaking bad. So I had all of that going on, and I was thinking I was gonna die. I mean, my body was shutting down, and obviously I made a bad decision to try to YOLO my life. But yeah, so what I ended up doing is working back with that natural path, getting myself somewhat healthy again, forcing myself to go to the gym when I could barely lift like 10 pounds with my legs. I kid you not. I got myself to lifting normal body weight. So that's where I learned, diet, exercise, taking like supplements. Like, that was something I needed to do to fight this thing, whatever the hell was going on. Like, and I tested for like parasites and all that. I did like lots of cleanses in my gut. I did see a shit ton of candida and killed a shit ton of candida, which also goes hand in hand with Lyme. So, I mean, I'm telling you, like, I did lots of stuff. So I finally got to a point with all of that I was able to get myself back to work. So this is what you would call almost like a remission. Like, I definitely wasn't fully good, and I still was like having these weird symptoms, which one of them I can't even explain, that misfiring on my brain where it was like I'd blink, except for I wasn't blinking. It was just like it would go like dark for a second, but it was so quick that it didn't like make me fall or faint or nothing. It just felt really uncomfortable and weird, and it would be like pressure on my head every time that would happen. Sometimes it'd be like ding 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 all in a row, or sometimes it would be like one here, one there. You know what I mean? So it was like not consistent. Anyway, so I had all of that stuff going on, and I decided to look more into it, because I never got the true diagnosis. So I'm talking to people, trying to figure out what the heck's going on with me still. And then I go see a naturopath about food intolerances. I'm like, maybe that's all this is, like gluten intolerance, right? You hear lots of crazy stories from that. So I go into the office. It was called it was with Dr. Anouk here in Grand Prairie. And I go there, and, I end up doing that test, but she said, it really sounds to me like you have Lyme disease. And I went, yes, I've been saying that, but I didn't know how to go about it. Okay, so what do? I do the intolerance test, and I do the Lyme disease test. Comes back freaking intolerant to so many things. Later, I find out that if you eat a lot of something, it can show up as an intolerance. So not the most accurate test, guys. And it's like, I'm pretty sure it was like $500 test. And about the same, but in US dollars, so even more, for the Lyme disease test. So another 600 whatever dollars. So that's before you start even treating this, guys. So yeah, I end up getting these tests. Guess what? Not only for the intolerance, but the antigen test, because it tests for antigens. It doesn't actually test like this is Lyme disease. It tests the antigens your body produces that it would produce if you had Lyme disease, which sometimes can be for other things as well. So though it comes back straight across the board, like everything lines up, everything. She's like, I haven't even had such an accurate test before in here for Lyme disease. And I went, yeah, I'm not surprised, because I'm pretty much like to the T of when I thought I got bit within that time frame, because it's anywhere between like 3 to 10 days where it shows up. It all lined up. I was like positive that I fucking had this Lyme disease, right? So I start treating with her, and I'm treating with her. Well, I'm on antibiotics and all kinds of expensive fucking tinctures and vitamins and all this stuff. Guys, there's no funding from the government for this. How is that even possible? It is so expensive, and this is like one of the worst diseases you can have, and we're not getting any funding for it. Like, don't make me go down the rabbit hole of how I think Big Pharma knows about Lyme disease, and there's a bunch of undiagnosed people with Lyme who are got these named diseases, but they're really all undiagnosed Lyme. Yeah, it's probably a big money grab. Anyways, can't say for sure, but if you go down the rabbit hole, it makes sense. Anyways, not going there today. I'm just telling you my story. Okay, so I start treating with her, and guess what happens? The medication I'm on oh my god, doxycycline, that's what it was called. It literally makes your skin super sensitive. So I'm an oil patch worker. I was working outside. It was freaking cold. But then I'm also dealing with like welder's potential flash on my face. If you know what that is, it's like a UV light basically. So it can burn you. So between the two of those, somehow, guess what I freaking end up with? If life isn't hard enough, if I can't catch a break enough, guess what happens? I get frostbite on my face. So it must have been like between frostbite and frost nip though, because my face didn't go black. It was like a mild case of frostbite. More than frost nip though. Anyways, I'm not gonna go into the details. That's a whole nother story. Actually, I think I kind of posted it on my old YouTube page that I accidentally made a whole new one, which is this one. But I actually have another YouTube page from way back. Anyways, so I get this frostbite on my face. Well, guess what I do? I stopped treating. I stopped taking it. And when I told her office about the fact that I got the frostbite on my face and I stopped, she never called me herself. She had her people call me who worked for her, and I just didn't feel like it was genuine, and I just felt like she cared more about the money. So then I ended up stopping seeing her completely, and I just wasn't even treating. And I wasn't doing that great, but I don't know, it's also a lot to take, especially when you work as much as I worked, like up to 12-hour days, like 7 days a week, 6 days a week. Like it's a lot. So I just stopped treating altogether and left it for a while until I had a roommate. And don't tell me how this happens, but my roommate moves in, and guess what her dad is? A pathologist who specializes in Lyme disease, guys. Like, what are the odds? So what do? Me and my boyfriend at the time, we go see him because he does something totally different, a whole new test. He does a live blood test. Okay, if you guys don't know what that is, it means they prick you. He took blood from my ear and he put it in a microscope, which is like one of the best microscopes in the world. And he puts it under there, and sure as shit, you can see it live on this big screen. And he's telling me what's all in my blood. Now, there's actually a video. I should tag it in the notes below the description of my blood under the microscope, okay? And I had like Candida, Mycoplasma. I had Lyme Barella, because that's what it's called. And then I also had, what the heck is the other one? Bartonella, or maybe I have it mixed up. But anyways, one of those is a co-infection. One of them is the actual correct term for Lyme disease. So I have one of the co-infections, but I don't have Babesia, which is a really bad co-infection. So we didn't see that, so that's good. Anyways, I started treating with him for a while as well, but it was a super hardcore treatment. And I ended up getting hand, foot, mouth disease somehow from my little cousin. And obviously, like, an adult isn't supposed to get that, so I have a really compromised immune system. So at that point, I had, what at the time was supposed to be a temporary break from it turned into like a permanent, and I honestly haven't gotten back to treating. I feel like diet is huge, and I even let my diet slip and my exercise and all that slip. So I haven't fully been taking care of myself like I should. So I was like, what's the point of treating? I need to have an alkaline body. Otherwise, it's just not doing what it needs to do. So that's basically my story up until this point in time in my life. I look well, but I'm not always well. It's kind of like that saying, like, fake it till you make it. I have to make myself be okay or feel okay even though I'm not. Otherwise, you're just gonna lay there and die. And I don't want that. You don't want that. Nobody wants that. So you just have to fucking do what you gotta do. Excuse my language, but it's the way it is. It's extremely lonely. It's a lonely disease because you look okay and people don't see it unless they see it. Like, my leg was cut off, you'd be like, oh my god, right? Like, sympathize. I'm empathetic for that. But when you see a person who looks like this, but literally could feel so tired and exhausted that they could sleep right now after having a whole night's sleep, or they just feel unwell, the brain fog, you can't think straight. Like, I haven't told you guys every detail. Like, I've literally not been able to be successful with jobs because of my brain, my mental functions. Like, my brain literally fails me. My memory is fucking horrible. Like, can I remember something that I learned 5 seconds ago? the tiredness is just like I've been full night of sleep standing there doing my job, and my eyes are going like that, and I'm trying to stay awake, like, and it all comes at random. Like, there's no set order of anything, like, and there's no direct treatment that you can do. Whereas, like, okay, if you know you have like diabetes, you need to do this and this and this to get through. It's not like that, and it affects everybody differently. And so many people have it and don't even know. It's just one of the most underdiagnosed diseases out there. It is horrible though. It changed my life. I'm not gonna lie, like, to an extent, it has ruined my life. I don't live the same quality of life as I did before. I'm very much a homebody. I'm very drained all the time, so I get more like irritable, and I don't handle people as well as I used to. Um, Overall, I just feel like I'm constantly fighting depression and my body being so exhausted, and I'm still young. I'm only 29 years old. I've been dealing with this for like at least the last 4 years. And when you're in a relationship, it's hard because they don't understand how you're feeling, and how could they, because they're not going through it. So it's very hard on relationships because sometimes you just can't give. It's like someone who can't love you because they don't love themselves. Well, it's like if I'm if I don't have the energy to do things myself, how do I have the energy to do things for you? So it can be really hard. That's why one of the reasons why I actually end up staying single. And it's also part of the reason why I ended up having to have an abortion, because you can actually transfer this to your baby. So not only was I in a relationship where the person ended up being not who I thought they were, and I didn't want to bring a child into the world with that situation, them alone, but like also me not being able to properly care for that child because I'm a sick person. And then I said, oh my god, I couldn't even imagine if I was alone raising the child, not only me being sick, but what if they got sick too? And I just didn't think it would be fair to have a child come into this world and give them that disease. And it's not 100% that you would, but there's a possibility. So I ended up, that was one of the hardest decisions I made. And some people are going to say whatever they want to say about the fact I had one. But that to me was the best decision for me, the baby, and the other person, like, all around just didn't seem like it was going to be a good idea. I mean, I can deal with things being hard for me, but when it comes to another life, like, I just couldn't live with myself. If I had a sick baby, I would feel horrible, and it's hard enough for me to care for myself and my dog. Sometimes I couldn't imagine a child that is like ill and needs extra attention, right? It would just probably been too much. So unfortunately, now I'm 29, probably never gonna have kids. So that's shitty because it's not something I never knew that I didn't want. I just never really found the right situation, and then when it happened, it wasn't the right situation still, but it also was like way too risky. So anyways, that's a bit of my story. My story's still going. I'm still fighting this thing. I'm still dealing with all these things day to day. One of the biggest things that really makes me feel like I might die every time it happens is I get like really out of breath. Sometimes my heart goes really fast, and then sometimes it's really slow because I have Lyme carditis, where it's like in my heart. And yeah, I will like not even be able to breathe. And I also have asthma, so I'll like take my inhaler and I will almost faint as I'm taking my inhaler. And I've had asthma my whole life. That's not a normal asthma symptom. That's literally obviously a combination of the asthma and the Lyme disease. So yeah, there's a lot of scary things. And I think, if you're someone who is in someone's life who has Lyme disease, all you can really do is be very supportive and patient with them. They're doing their best, and it is a battle that you couldn't even imagine, and I would hope you wouldn't even wish it on your worst nightmare, because it honestly is something that ruins lives and eventually will take their life. Like, it is only a matter of time before it shuts down all your organs. It attacks your brain, your nervous system, your entire circulatory system, everything. It affects everything. Okay, the way it works is it's a little, bacteria, and it goes into your system, and it creates a biofilm. And this biofilm surrounds it and protects it, and nothing can even get through there. Like your white blood cells cannot get through that biofilm to actually fight it off. And every time you try to fight it, if you're not successful, it actually mutates, and like the weak ones die, but the strong ones get stronger. It is so hard to fight this disease that I think when most people are fighting it, all they're doing is they killed off the weak ones, but the strong ones stay in their bodies, so they're in like a remission state. But sooner or later, it probably comes back. The only way you would ever really know is if you do take a live blood test, and if you keep testing while you're doing the treatment to see if it's getting better, and if when you're done you test to see if it's actually completely gone. Remission is better than not in remission, but it's still not fully cured. So yeah, and as far as I know, it can actually be passed down through a placenta, so you could have actually gained it from, your mother even. So that could be why a lot of people have it and don't even realize. There's so many factors to this. I could go on and on and on. I feel like this is a super long video as it is. And I just realized I didn't even record this on a widescreen, so this is not even going to turn out as good as I wanted it to. But yeah, that's just a little bit about my story. I'll let you guys ask me any questions that you want to ask me. Put them in the comments. If I get enough, I'm just going to do a whole new video and tap into this stuff that I didn't tap into, because there is a lot. I'm also going to tag you on my pathologist's website. If you're someone that is, thinks that you have Lyme disease, he isn't about the money, he's about helping people, so you can get a test done fairly cheap, way cheaper than the $500 that I had to spend the first time I took a test that only tests for antigens, not even a live blood test. And he also has a treatment which he has some of the herbs and everything you need, but you also will have to go a step further and purchase some stuff online. Yeah, and if you just want more information, check out his website. He also has a YouTube channel. I'll tag my live blood test, and you can go check out his channel and browse through there. But yeah, guys, this was a different one than I normally do. It's more from the heart, more personal. So yeah, make sure you guys follow my Instagram and like, share, and subscribe to my channel, please. It is a free way to help your girl. And clearly I am a woman who needs to work from home because I can't really do the old work that I used to do. So please, free way to help your girl. Just subscribe to this channel, and love you guys.